Well, today I brought you out to the woods just to enjoy the afternoon and the peace and the quiet and the tranquility. Beautiful day here in Montana. Sun's going to set pretty soon, but it's been pretty nice. And I kind of wanted to chat with you a little bit about pursuing your dreams, or more to the point, pursuing your chosen lifestyle. And it doesn't matter what it is. I'll give you a couple examples. One personal. The first one's personal. Back when my wife and I were in our early 20s, we had a dream to get a sailboat and sail to the South Pacific. And back then everybody thought we were crazy. There was hardly anybody doing that. And there weren't boats that were just specifically built to do that, or not very many, and certainly not one in our price range. But to even get started, we had to start researching different kinds of boats, different kinds of hull designs. It had to be a sailboat, of course. You can't carry enough fuel to go across the ocean in a small boat. But we had to start by studying hull design and what would make a boat seaworthy, safe in severe weather and big waves. What kind of hull was it? That required a lot of research, a lot of reading, trips to the library, books that we purchased. And we finally found a boat, and of course it needed outfitted. It needed to be gone over in every aspect. And we had to learn how to do that. We had to learn how to work fiberglass. We had to learn about different kinds of bottom paint. We had to replace the rigging. We had to buy new sails and learn how to repair sails. We had to rebuild the engine. We had to do that ourselves. We couldn't afford to have any of this work done. We were just young and living on hourly wages. But we put every effort, every dollar towards that. Like I said, rebuilding the engine and going over the systems in the boat. And back then there weren't too many systems. Not at all. We had to repair the through hull fittings. Anyways, that was just to get the boat ready to go. And that took a couple of years. And a lot of hard work. But back then there wasn't such a thing as GPS. You know, even our phones would tell us exactly where we're at, and they'll work out in the middle of the ocean just as well as they work right here, in the mainland. But we didn't have that back then, so we had to learn how to navigate by the sun and the moon and the stars using a sextant and a chronometer. And it took quite a bit of study to learn how to do that, so we could figure out where we were. We did. There was going to be no medical available to us. When you're out in the middle of the ocean, you're literally 1,000 miles from anyone else. So we had to learn about the use of antibiotics and temporary tooth fillings and all kinds of cool stuff, suturing. But we learned that too. You can't call for help out in the middle of the ocean. You have to be prepared. But we did all that. And then when things would break down on the boat, we knew how to take care of it. We didn't have to call in a repairman or anything because we couldn't have afforded it anyway. And you know what? We had a wonderful trip. And we even raised our two daughters on the boat when they were young. We just, it was a family thing, and it was a great lifestyle. But then what about homesteading? Maybe you choose to be a homesteader. And boy, that's a popular thing nowadays. There's hundreds of channels on YouTube about homesteading. But I got to tell you, you don't just start off and head into the woods with an axe. You're not Paul Bunyan. You got to learn about animal husbandry, or whatever they call it, because I'm not a homesteader. You got to learn what chickens will do well in your climate. How many acres does it take to raise a cow? How to prepare food and store it away, how long does an egg last? Of course, I had to learn this for the sailing too. We had to learn how to prepare our food and how to keep eggs for 3 months at a time without refrigeration. We didn't have refrigeration. There was no such thing for us. That was a very expensive system, and you'd have to run your engine all day to have it. And like I said, we didn't have that kind of fuel on board. Small boat, small tank. But even for homesteading, there's so many different things that you have to learn. But here's the reason I brought all this up. It doesn't have anything to do with boating, sailing, doesn't have anything to do with homesteading. It has to do with the RV lifestyle. I'm talking about people that live in a van, maybe because they have to. A lot of them are doing it nowadays because they want to and they absolutely love it. Or maybe you're retired and you want to buy a big motorhome and you and your wife want to take off and head for Arizona. I'd kind of like to go to Arizona right now. And I might, in another month, I might just head on down. But anything worth doing is worth doing well. And the reason I mention those other lifestyles to you is because for the RV lifestyle, there's some prep work that you can do for that also. If you're thinking about getting into, let's just say, a simple van, live in a van, travel, you're at the mercy of every repair shop you come to at least $100 an hour for a mechanic just to take care of everything on your van. When you get that check engine light up on your dash and off you have to go to a shop, that shouldn't be. You should make sure that you know enough about your vehicle that if you can't do it yourself, you've at least got a pretty doggone good idea of what's wrong with it before you take it in. You should have a Chilton's manual that you can buy at any auto parts store and make sure it covers the make, model, and year of your vehicle. And when that check engine light comes on, you should have a code reader. They only cost, you can get an app on your phone called Torque Pro. And for $15, you buy the little gizmo that plugs into your the outlet underneath the dash, and it'll read your codes and tell you what's wrong with your engine, because the engine it's generally not the engine itself that goes bad. Pistons, rings, valves and stuff like that, crankshaft, that stuff usually lasts a long time. When your engine goes out now these days, most of the time it's because of some accessory on the engine. Some electronic module has gone bad. And that code that you read with the code reader, or you can just go to any auto parts store and most of them will come out and read the code for you and then sell you the little gizmo that you got to plug in. But what I see when I'm watching these videos on YouTube for the van people that are living the van life is the first thing they do is go to a shop. And that's big money. And I think that most of these folks can't afford that. And my heart just goes out to them. I just wish I was there, just to help out. Let me take this another step further. Now, you should have a toolkit in your vehicle. It should be a set of sockets, various screwdrivers, wrenches, pliers, vice grips. You got to have vice grips. Oh, and duct tape. Don't forget that. But anyways, you got to have a toolkit in your vehicle so that you can do a lot of these repairs yourself. There was a fella a couple years ago that was setting out in his van, and the valve for his heater system that took the hot water from the heater hose coming off his radiator, it had gone bad. And he went and bought the valve, and then he took it down to a repair shop and waited early in the morning for them to open so they could put the valve in for him. It was a simple hose clamp on either side of the valve and an electric plug that just unsnapped. And that was all there was to it. This poor guy, it cost him $100. You got to pay a 1 hour minimum just to do something so simple. And I think that if you're going to set off on this lifestyle, you need to study a bit. You need to learn a little bit about automotive mechanics. Watch some videos. If you do get the check engine light, go ahead and get the code read and figure out what it is, and then look on YouTube if you have to. YouTube, what a great resource. I just love it. But get on YouTube and look up what the problem is and find and watch a video on how to fix that. I rebuilt an automatic transmission one time on YouTube videos. At that time, I think I had to pay $20 to watch the series, but it was step by step and walked me through the whole thing until it was done. So anything can be done. I'm not saying you should rebuild your tranny, but I'm just saying that YouTube is such a valuable resource. You can do stuff like that. However, back to that toolkit. It would be better to pay $400, $500, $600 for an extensive toolkit than it is to keep getting dinged at repair shops. Look at it this way. Let's say your tranny goes out. Well, of course you're going to have to pay for a tow to the nearest town, right? You're stuck. But before I would do anything, before I would take it to a transmission shop, I would research that too. This is kind of out there, you know what I mean? This is serious. But I don't care if you're a man or a woman, single girl, traveling, I don't care what. Everybody can get greasy. It washes off. But I would research exactly what happened with the tranny, exactly how it was acting. I'd look that up and try to figure out what, for your make and model and year of car, if it has some common recurrent problem. Maybe there's a certain solenoid that you need to replace, that all you need to do is drain the automatic transmission, undo a couple of nuts, and drop a solenoid out and replace it and button it back up again. You know what I mean? Maybe it's something, it could be something that simple. Let me tell you what, if you take that to a transmission shop, ooh, this bugger needs rebuilt. That's going to be about $2,700, maybe $3,000, but we can get it out for you in about 3 days. That's what you're going to hear when it could be something that you could do yourself. So what I'm suggesting is, even in a major situation like that, it would actually be better to go down to Walmart, buy a couple of those plastic ramps that you can drive your car up on. Of course, chalk it up there so you're not going to get hurt. Make sure, you know. And buy an oil drain pan so you can drain your transmission. You see where I'm going with this? It would be better for you to spend $100 on stuff that you're only going to use once than it would be to spend $3,000 to have maybe a repair done that you actually don't need. Research first. Like I say, look it up on YouTube. See what they have to say about that. See what you can find out for your vehicle. But even if you've got a large motorhome, all the systems can be researched. Your refrigerator, you know, maybe it runs off of 110 in propane or 110 12 volt in propane and it quits working. It could be something as simple as replacing a $10 thermocouple that goes from maybe the pilot light doesn't stay lit. Well, there's certain components to that refrigeration system, and you could name every one if you learn a little bit about it. You can say, oh, that's the piezoelectric starter, or that's this, or that's that. Your hot water heater, it has a sacrificial anode in it that you've got to replace every year. And you should know, and should flush it out. You should know what the heating element is in your hot water heater and how to repair it. Your furnace system. You know, those go out all the time, but they're really simple. They've got an electric blower, 12-volt blower motor in them. And they've got a burner in them. It's just like the burner for your hot water heater or your, you know, there's a regulator in there. It seldom goes bad. There's just things there's the piezoelectric system that starts it that could go out. That could possibly be it. But let's say you wanted to replace the whole furnace. Well, maybe you just don't. Do you think the thing is so old it should just be replaced? I was just watching Jamie from Enigmatic Nomadics the other day, and he was buying a brand new furnace for a fella, $350. You'd spend $350 just on the labor getting that done, rather than undoing a couple screws and a couple of hoses and a couple of wires and doing it yourself. But I'm trying to get it across to you that you need to research your chosen lifestyle. Like I said, if it's worth doing right. So research your vehicle, research all the systems, the plumbing, learn how to put two pieces of PVC together with PVC primer and cement, and learn how to do your own repairs. If you don't think you can do it, you should watch a gal named Pippi Peterson. Maybe you already know of her. That gal gets greasy. And she's beautiful and plays beautiful piano at the same time. But if Pippi can do it, and she does it well, we can all do it, just with a little research on our vehicle. The same applies for your electrical, your solar panels and everything. All I'm saying is, it's your chosen lifestyle. Take some time to research it so you don't get caught out. Anyways, I don't want to discourage anybody, and I hope that I've helped. Please leave your comments down below. If you don't agree with me, please leave those comments too, and let me know what you think. And I don't like to see people stuck on the side of the road. I'm one of those people who stops. But a lot of times people, this is Montana, everybody stops. But a lot of times, folks, you're just going to be stuck out there, and I don't want to see that. I want to see you taking care of yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.